You should know the strategies, the techniques, what to do in a situation. That is intelligence. The maturity is the ability to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, she's putting herself on the line, don't we?
I feel like when you're able to label whatever it is you're feeling, the rest, some way, somehow, will follow just for you.
It can be your most real self. Real self doesn't mean good.
Yeah.
Or bad. It means real.
The intelligence is the knowledge.
Intelligence is the knowledge. Knowing the emotionally intelligent thing to do is knowing the appropriate or the socially acceptable path to take in that moment. That's the intelligence, right? You learn that in books, you learn that from experiences and so on.
By the end of this video, we promise you would know how to regulate your emotions, have practical steps to heal wounds and trauma within your soul, and know how to preserve the state of your mind in everyday life.
Hello and welcome to the Dive podcast. Here at the Dive, we have real honest conversation that dig deep beneath the surface of culture, mindset, and life. Today, we explore a topic that sits at the very heart of who you are, the link between your soul, mind, and emotional maturity. Listen, by the end of this conversation, you are going to have practical knowledge as to live your life, not just strong in your mind, but mature in your emotions as well as your soul. My name is Benjamin Grant and I'll be your host for this episode. By joining me are three amazing voices. First off, we have Toby Wood, who is a storyteller and voiceover artist whose reels and projects bring culture and faith to life. You might know him to be the guy behind The Voice, Kings and Queens of Accra. Hope I mimicked that right. So you are welcome. You're welcome. And also we have Mami Ifia, who is a communicator and identity advocate, an MC and project coordinator with Ahaban Greenleaf Foundation, using her voice and platform to shape conversation on culture, purpose, and impact. Mami, you're welcome.
Hi.
Last and definitely not the least, we have Ravi Tobe. He's a multidisciplinary creative, a filmmaker, photographer, and minister based in Accra, Ghana. His social media presence combines visually driven content with spiritual and reflective messaging. Lady and gentlemen, welcome. Hey, lady and gentlemen. There's also a lady here, right? You guys are welcome. Thank you. Welcome to the Dive podcast. And listen, this topic is very essential to who we are. Let's start from the foundation. When you hear the word soul, what does it mean? So I'll start with you. By popular request, we started with you.
All right. Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah.
It's an honor to be here. So when we look at the word soul, it's very broad. It's a very, very intense subject because it entails the mind, the will, and the emotions. So if you're going to now unpack the soul, as now look at the mind, what really goes on in the mind, what goes on in the will, what goes on in the emotions, and the multi-faceted nature of all of these things. Because if you look at the mind, how then will you now differentiate it from the brain? Because there's a brain, but then they're saying that, okay, the mind is not something that is tangible, but it's experienced. So the soul, to cut a very long story short, is how all of these facets intersect. How does your will demonstrate itself? How do your emotions experience themselves? How does your mind behave? And the navigation throughout all of these things come together to define how a person's soul will be. So how you would navigate your mind would probably be different from how Toby would navigate his mind.
True.
Mami would navigate her emotions could be different from how I would navigate my emotions. And that just goes to describe the various types of souls that would all be existing in life.
Thank you very much. I think that's a good way of opening the show, right? But with that being said, I'm coming to Toby and Mami. Do you think the soul, the mind, and emotion are the same? How would you even define it in your own terms?
Soul, mind, and emotion. So, Mama, what are you thinking? I'm just here to divert. No, but I would say like by definition they're not the same, right? Okay. But then for me, I might be coming from like Christian spiritual type of definition.
Let's dive in.
Let's dive in.
Yeah.
Dive. I see what you did there. So when we have the mind, I would say that that is representing the more logical aspects of us, right? Taking decisions based on, past events, on calculations and so on. Cool. That's there. That's done. Then we have emotions, which is a little bit more of the primal aspect of us, right?
Okay.
The impulses, the desires, right? The things that we often try to tame. And then the soul for me represents like the essence of your character. It's your intuition, it's the aspect that closely links both the mind and emotions to the spiritual realm, to what I believe the Holy Spirit wants to communicate to you, right? And the soul kind of binds the two together. So that's why I get the confusion, because like maybe people believe that, the soul is kind of inside the soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions, right?
Yeah.
So it's the housing for that. I feel like it's the very essence of who you are as a person, what differentiates you from anybody and everybody else. Your soul structure is the makeup or the combination of all of these things. So that's my definition for how these three can be different and or separated. But yeah.
Okay. Mommy, do you want to add something to that?
I mean, I would just say that like the soul is the instrument to the mind.
Okay.
The soul has like, it helps you make your values, your intention, and then when it comes to your emotions, I would say that your emotions are basically you expressing what is going on in your brain.
Okay.
Or say your mind.
Yeah.
I would say like the brain is the physical thing, but the mind is not like let me see, is it abstract or non-abstract?
Abstract. Yeah.
Like, so like the mind is the abstract thing, and then the brain is the non-abstract thing. So how you're feeling is all going on in the mind. So I'll just say that the soul is the instrument to the mind, and the mind is the instrument to your emotions.
Okay. I think that's well said.
Yeah.
Right. With that being said, let's connect it with emotional intelligence. How different is emotional intelligence from emotional maturity?
Can I take this one?
Yeah. So we are baby.
I was waiting with this one.
I feel like that's one question we are all waiting for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly. So let me kick it off. So I was thinking, right? I had to. So whenever time I'm faced with any type of question, I like to kind of like take it back towards the basics to make sure that I even understand each word that's going on.
Okay.
And I was struggling with the word maturity. Right? Like even just maturity on its own, because now like, okay, at some point you quote unquote mature, right?
Okay.
Now, Bible say that, okay, I'm done with the ways of a child. I'm heavily paraphrasing, by the way, right? And so I no longer think like a child, right? And I now need solid food and so on. Like it's implying there's a certain level of growth. So I was like, okay, then maturity is growth, but not exactly, right? Because people can grow but not be mature.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
And so it wasn't until I was watching some series somewhere, can't remember, but then it highlighted the fact that maturity is alluded to control over impulses and desires.
Period. Yeah.
Because that's in essence, that's what a child is. A child lacks control. And therefore you can give them that leash of immaturity. Do you see what I'm saying? But if once you are able to gain control and now be able to put in a certain level of structure to your emotions, to your thoughts, to your actions, you now by society are classified as mature. So now emotional maturity and emotional intelligence. Intelligence is the knowledge on what to do to measure out a suitable solution, right? So it's not like, okay, I know that if I'm in a relationship,
Is it with God?
I am in a relationship with God, but there's a damn stinger.
Shout out to here, by the way.
Shout out to you. Anyways, but in a relationship, you would realize that, okay, if your significant other says something that upsets you, I know that I should probably say something back in a way that calms the situation and brings us towards open and fruitful communication. But the emotions and the desires are not like, no, I need to lash out. Like, I need to be petty, right?
Very petty.
Extremely.
Yeah.
But no, the Holy Spirit thought we shouldn't do that. So the knowledge thereof is the intelligence. You should know the strategies, the techniques, what to do in a situation. That is intelligence. The maturity is the ability to do that. Yet the maturity is the control to say, I will refuse these petty feelings. I refuse these impulses and desires to lash out or retaliate and do the thing that I know to do, right? So that's my stark difference, where one is the knowledge and one is the ability. Yeah.
So the intelligence is the knowledge.
Intelligence is the knowledge. Knowing the emotionally intelligent thing to do is knowing the appropriate or the socially, my goodness,
Okay.
the socially acceptable path to take in that moment. That's the intelligence, right? You learn that in books, you learn that from experiences and so on. But you can know what to do and not do it. And therefore, here comes emotional maturity, right? To control your impulses and desires, especially when your emotions are leading you towards the other end of things, right? So,
Oh, that's a great submission.
Wait, I just want
Okay.
to add on that with the maturity aspect. Maturity, there's no set goal for maturity, like an end point. It's continuous, everlasting.
yeah.
So you can't say that, because like maybe I'm an adult now, I really told I've reached a certain level, or maybe you're an elderly person, and then that's it. Well, even if you're elderly, there's someone who's an ancient of days. When I mentioned against that metric, you see how you may be lacking. So I just wanted to point out that it's a continuous growth and renewal in of the intelligence.
Yeah, but none you get to say, coming in. You guys keep prepared. So you see, that's why when I was told to host this, I said, no, these guys know their onions, right? Yes, guys, you guys, right? Like I said, right there.
You just wanted it to come in.
No, your honest, I hate a thing.
It's his thing now.
Yeah, clearly.
And it will be a thing.
And we are clocking into that. Thank you. So, Mommy, do you want to add anything to the
I mean, I would say that they have said everything, but all I'll have to add is the emotional intelligence is you first identifying what it is you're feeling.
Ooh, I like that.
Sometimes people say, I'm feeling something, but they are not finding the right words for what they are feeling. So I would say that emotional intelligence goes to you identifying what you're feeling in that moment. And then the emotional maturity goes on to say, how are you handling that thing you're feeling?
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Word
indeed.
So we'll move on to the next. In your own experience, how does the mind, what you think and believe, shape how emotionally mature you are? In your own experience. All right. This one too, starting with Mommy.
In my experience.
Yeah. How does the mind, what you think and believe, shape how emotionally mature?
I mean, I would say that this starts with how you are raised. If growing up you were taught some basic, should I say, etiquettes, and some basic ways of handling things, how you react to those things is automatically going to reflect as you're growing up. So for me, when I was a kid, children have this thing of when they want something, they're always crying.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
Full on tantrum.
But
So, Mommy, you're a crybaby.
I think we've identified that about her past.
for some time. But my mom and my dad especially, he wouldn't even look at you. Cry. He will say, cry won't kill you. So cry. When you are done and you are ready to use your words, that is when I will mic you.
Ooh.
Right.
That's
So
good.
with that, I would say that when I want something, beating myself about it, me crying, me lashing out and all of that wouldn't make me get what I want. But sitting down and using my words would actually make me get that.
Yeah.
So I would say that the upbringing that you get when you are young goes a long way to, it transcends into how you're emotionally mature.
Sure.
So yeah.
Do you guys want to add on
That
to this?
said it.
Sure, honestly, I feel like that's pretty solid. But that's superb with this as well. But since we're saying a personal, experience,
Yeah.
with all of these things, coming in with the upbringing, because the upbringing aspect is very vital to a person's makeup. Nonetheless, these things can be rewritten.
Yeah.
That maybe
Yeah.
you didn't, the upbringing you had was maybe not the best or whatever it is. You can still change the past in a certain sense. And in light of all of these things, if now you have become a certain type of soul, because when you're growing up, the very first emotional regulators you have are your parents.
True.
Because they don't know, you can't identify that your feeling is anger.
Right.
It may not work, but then your parents will tell you that actually it's anger you're experiencing, feeling a sense of loss. So something when like little kids and maybe the dad has to go to work and then they're crying. Because in their
Mommy crying.
in their eyes, daddy is not coming back.
Exactly.
There is this fear. So now, but the child doesn't know it's fear.
Is it that daddy's not coming back? Daddy's leaving me behind.
Do you know what I'm saying? Many things happening. All that the child can do is cry, because the crying, at least, is. I've always seen it like, and this is my observation and my that when a child is born, the constant crying, the constant attention seeking is that the child is seeking for survival.
Yeah.
I must survive. How can I survive?
Right.
Who can help me survive? So mom. And so whenever I have a need, I'm going to cry, because that's the only way I can, get what I need to continue my survival, my comfort and everything. And so if now your parents or your community shaped your soul structure as you're growing up in a way that maybe will not permit you to have the best form of emotional intelligence, because all intelligence is intelligence, but they will differ one from the other. So somewhere the low level is still emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
You see, and then as you grow, then maybe you now learn the ways of everything, and then you know how to let everything converge eventually.
Yeah.
If I can kind of jump in here, where does upbringing end? Right? When we say upbringing, because I'm sitting here, and as both of you are speaking, I'm thinking about my own life, my own experiences as well. And I'm just now like, okay, I feel like my parents have done a phenomenal job in raising me and my brother. Like, no problem. But I do not think I have my current level of emotional intelligence from them or from my upbringing, right? I believe a big aspect of my current level of emotional intelligence is from, I don't know how to say this without sounding like, from my desire or my want to be emotionally intelligent.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm just now like,
And I think there's a place of awareness.
yeah.
Just as Mame and Ravi said, upbringing plays a pivotal role. But when you're growing up, that's when you realize, okay, I have to be aware that I have to be emotionally intelligent. I think it's also plays an important part.
I mean, upbringing, I would say, is what kickstarts everything.
Everything. Yeah.
That's where it starts.
Yeah.
So as you grow, the other factors come in.
Yeah.
That is when you get to school and then your teachers are teaching you, do this, do that, do that. But then the upbringing is where everything starts. How you are being taught at home and all of that. That is where it starts.
So as you move through that, now comes a point of responsibility.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, they kick-started it, but they did not complete the journey.
It's true. Yeah.
Like for me, I don't know, because I'm out here cycling through a bunch of scenarios where, people say that, they come from like toxic families and things like that. Other people are coming from very traumatic backgrounds and so on. Okay, so I'm just now like, all right, at which point, I mean, for lack of for the sake of this conversation, let's just focus on Ghana, right?
Yeah.
At which point your average Ghanaian parents actually going ahead to teach the children what to think and or feel, as opposed to just demonstrating with your character. Do you see what I'm saying? Because then the upbringing is not so much that they are training you. The kickstarting is your parents are existing.
Yeah.
You, the child, are observing,
Yeah.
right? And you are putting your own meanings and definitions to types of punishments, the explanations that you're getting there. So then it's like, yes, I'm not really sure where this point is going,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm just trying to say that I feel like a big part of it, even in this parent thing, I mean, everything comes back to you in the end, but is the child now saying, okay, I want to pick up on what mommy and daddy are doing. I want to choose a path that doesn't make me feel this negative feeling. They can't process the exact feeling and so on, no problem, but they can say, I don't want this. But then they go to school and then they have a whole different set. So is school part of the upbringing?
Yeah.
Community. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I think that would take us to the next part of this conversation, right? Since we didn't grow up in vacuum, we were transformed by our upbringing, the people who come into contact with us, and whatnot. The next one is how do privileges and upbringing, for example, growing up in a wealthy or a poor family, affect how somebody's emotional maturity will be? Mami mentioned that in the previous question I asked. How do you think somebody's upbringing, as Toby was saying, is it just limited to the house, or school is part, or friends are part? How do you think all of these things mixed together affect somebody's emotional maturity?
I mean, there's this thing I studied sometime back at school.
Mm-hmm.
When you start, growing up, you start from the home. The home is like the first institution that nurtures a child.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be home and learn everything or know everything. Definitely, you have to go into school. School, the teachers there are acting as parents.
Yes.
The teachers are acting as parents. So your mom and dad, they do theirs at home.
Home.
You come to school, your teacher is correcting you. She's whipping you, she's shouting and all of that. Then from there, the friends you make.
The friends.
Because this is because people are like from different backgrounds are coming together into one place. So you get to pick up different attitudes and everything. So I don't know if you have younger siblings, but my younger brother, I remember when he started schooling at home, mommy teaches you to use your words. But then when he comes from after school, we realized that he started crying again and realized, okay, so there are people in school that when they want something, they cry. So he speaks.
Yeah, it's right.
You get it. So, I mean, it starts from home, your teachers doing their work, and then the friends, the people you come into contact with, So, yeah, I mean, it starts from home, then school, the people you meet, and then, I mean, even in the workspace, corporate world, you can't have everybody acting the way you would want to.
True.
Being a swing in it, oh my God, the place is so toxic. You have to find your own way of navigating around all of those things. So, I mean, in one way or the other, they all come in. I feel it's all about timing. There's time where you're in school fully, and then there's time where you're in the corporate world or you're in the working space. The time where you grew up, that's when you're young. The time where you started school. The time where you started meeting friends in school, and even at higher levels, and then you enter into the workspace. So, I mean, they all come together.
It's really awesome. Your life, the privilege and the upbringing and all these things. I think it's the age-old argument of nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that, please. Also picking up from early creation. That's right. So, but yeah, with all of this thing, nature, there's because a whole lot of factors coming into a lot of things. The soul,
Right.
there is the upbringing from parents. And there's also a community, and that community is very broad. Go to the markets and how you observing how people interact. You are in a car and because it goes in Ghana, you see some truck drivers fighting. It's like, same, bro. You're learning, you're observing, and then you may now pick up your own meanings out of all of these things. And now the portion of things will now, let's say, in a person's DNA from parents. Maybe that's why now maybe someone say like, oh, certain family patterns that, oh, in my family, are angry people. There's a certain pride that comes along with it because you feel like that is your natural edge.
It's a family thing.
Yeah, it's you, and then in that one too now becomes like a means of deflection.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, oh, this is how we are like in family. This is all I've ever known. But the further sport you've ever known and what you've has been easier for you to manifest doesn't mean is what you should be. Because I need to measure it against what is beneficial and what's not beneficial. Because if let's say we're looking at like anger, I feel like anger is one of the most misunderstood emotions. It looks so explosive and all of that, but in the midst of all of those things, anger is actually a need. And anger is that this thing that I need, since you're not giving to me, I will take it. So I need you to be quiet because irritated. But
I like the way
like it's in a certain sense, it's well, at least from people can disagree, but it's an immature way of getting what you want done because when you take something from me, it now leaves me with nothing. And now in that vacancy in me, I can think anything I want. I can seek something else to fill up that emptiness that you created. And so now it's in all of these things, the child growing up has the responsibility in how they would navigate what are their own urges and what they're observing from the world all around them. And it can be a very tricky thing to have to experience. And we all have had our own sort of various experiences, peer pressure, this, that. Like, for me, I love my dad to bits, all right? But then there was this thing that he loved to buy, like, really large shoes for me. It's not about the green, like, you see those kind of kambu.
the bigger one,
And like everyone in school is like wearing nice shoes and then like color size you looking like some construction.
Oh my god.
Hey, I used to feel quite insecure about it because I'm like,
sorry.
I didn't really mind. The only reason I started minding was how people were wanting to I mean that feels like, oh yeah, it's a nice
food, high school,
and they're laughing at me. So now I don't like it.
Real.
The point.
So now I want to have what they have. And I'm telling this man, he's not understanding because it's like, how would he have to wear? I mean, what you need is to something. That's a problem feeling. What for you?
Yeah.
And so like and I just said this to say that I had an initial mind that when I had that show, I was happy.
Right.
And now because of how other people are seeing it now, I don't like it.
Yeah.
So what happened to my initial joy? I replaced it, and it's just a tricky thing to navigate. And that's why I just feel like parents and I think what the general community has like, or you can't really regulate how community would affect a child or a person. But what can be more strictly observed is parents. Yes.
All right.
And
I'm so sorry, Grant. Just one last thing. Like for me, in this, the whole concept of privilege, right? I feel like should be addressed because the truth is, people that are privileged would likely have access to a better education.
Definitely.
Better education, meaning that more people are intelligent. And therefore, by extension, emotionally intelligent. Right?
Yeah.
So I was having a chat with Ravi on this just beforehand, right? And what we came across, or the insight that came up was that the privilege is not necessarily money. Right? It's not necessarily money. It is the grace to meet somebody who is willing and able to teach you a better path. Right?
Yeah.
And by statistics and definition, you are less likely to get that if you're not in a certain income bracket, because certain people are professionally trained. Some high schools even have like therapists and counselors. It's not like you know about these things. You even have access to internet to even find out more. And people who may not have as much in terms of a financial standpoint may not or may still encounter somebody to train them or to help them experience what it means to be emotionally intelligent and by extension mature. But then it's just like less odds for them.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to kind of highlight the difference because the privilege is important, but then the privilege, I don't want people leaving with the idea that now like, if you have money, then you're better off. Right?
Yeah.
It's why you have the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is our number one, counselor in all of these things, right?
I know privilege hasn't always been wealth.
But that's the thing. But that's what people think.
I believe that if with or without money, you should be able to, access some things with or without money.
Yeah.
But then as I said again, unfortunately.
It's rather unfortunate, guys. Yeah. So would circle on that and go to our next question.
Yeah.
So you see, society often says men are logical and women are emotional, right? What's true about what I just said, and what's the stereotype here?
You see something really? Can I start?
Yes.
Busy. You know, this particular thing here is been bugging me because I don't understand.
Spill it. Spill it.
You men,
Mm-hmm.
then what? That's
Mommy.
I would say that when it comes to logic and
Mm-hmm.
emotions,
Mm-hmm.
it has nothing to do with gender.
Are you sure? Okay, the men are here to
It has nothing to do with gender. People tend to say it has something to do with gender because of the roles that we have been assigned to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, growing up some years ago,
Mm-hmm.
the man is supposed to make the decisions at the house.
Yeah.
And then the mother is supposed to take care of the children.
Yeah.
And the fact that, and if something should happen in the house or to her child, she tends to react more than, like, before, like, let me say, thinking it through. That was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But then now,
Now.
I have a friend. She's so feminine. But then sometimes I ask her, do you see have emotion? Things.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the way she can do things, and it's as though I'm talking to a man.
Man.
Or I'm dealing with
Put
a
on
man.
food. Yeah. Exactly.
There's a lot to unpack here.
And to unpack, the men are here.
I would say that sometimes, then again, I'm really big on upbringing.
Yeah.
The upbringing is a factor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If some dads tend to treat their daughters like men. Some
Yeah.
dads
Very true.
tend to treat their daughters like girls.
Right.
So if you are from a home that your father is like, hey, sit down.
Mm-hmm.
No, don't do that. Why are you crying? Wipe your face.
No princess treatment.
No
nothing.
princess
Nothing.
My darling,
You're going to be a man.
you don't have time to feel.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I know if I should do, daddy is coming at me that, no, so Charlie, when I'm feeling, shake it off and move on.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that women are not really
Emotional.
I would just say that we tend to express our emotions more quickly than we should.
Right.
Men are emotional.
Let them talk for themselves, mommy.
Let me just say it. For starters, they can defend whatever I'm going to say.
Definitely.
Men are actually emotional, but then they tend to show their emotions in different ways. But because the woman is she's coming out, she's bursting out, it makes it look like she's very, very emotional.
No.
But then again, yes, she's emotional, but she's logical as well. She can actually sit down, think things through before making a decision.
Mm-hmm.
So I would really appreciate it.
Ravi, what do you think?
There's this thing that's I don't know. I just don't I don't really agree with that statement that men are logical. I don't really agree with it.
Okay.
Because why so? No one, and I was telling Toby this thing, no one no baby is born with logic.
Right.
Word.
Not learned, it's
Yeah.
Right.
Let's look at it critically.
Very critically.
No child comes and then he's already trying to make sense out of the environment around them. They learn logic as they're okay. So if you touch this hot plate, you're gonna get bent.
Yeah.
So now learn it and all these things. So in the most primal form, that's what they were saying, you are the most primal form of a person are your emotions.
Yeah.
Your urges, what is hard to control that will just push you to do something. Now, in the makeup of a man and a woman, there are some clear differences because science has also kind of observed the male brain and the female brain.
Yeah.
But we are also human. And in the human experience, we are all at base value emotional. How now one would navigate the emotions, your mind, your will, all of the things, is where now the logic now comes in. So maybe society has a part to play in how the upbringing of a girl child and a boy child would look like. So maybe, like you were saying, a dad can treat the girl like a man. Like a boy. I don't really know if there's situations where they treat a boy like a girl. It's not so popular in the Ghanaian landscape. So yeah, in all of these things, as we are all primarily, yes sir, emotional. Primarily emotional in our nature. What now causes the distinction, the differences? One is that, okay, the boy may have been conditioned to not be aware of the emotional experience he's having. And the girl might be more in tune of it. And already also, a woman is much more, let me say, the sensitivity to the emotional regulation or the emotional flows in the woman. And I'm being specific on the sensitivity of it and the awareness of it. From a boy. That yeah, we are all experiencing emotions, but then the girl is more aware and those emotions are more intense. The boy is also having all of his intense experience and all of those things, but then they are not labeled.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no, okay, this thing means this. And so he may now push it away and then act out that emotion without being aware that he was actually being emotional as he was, manifesting it.
Yeah.
So there's a certain kind of, how we all do the things, how we all express our emotions are different. But in the end, we are still all expressing. It just looks different. So in this thing, there's definitely some clear-cut differences. How the male would now logicalize his life, his emotions, his will. That may differ from a woman. Does not mean he is inherently logical. So I don't agree that men are logical, women are emotional. I don't, because it's not true. It's all about the intelligence each person grows up with. So now, if now a girl is now growing up and has been conditioned to be so much more in the presence of her emotions than in the navigational ability to maybe not be so consumed by them, but now maybe look at certain facts and then act out based on the resources just available and not just an emotional resource. Then now we begin to see, okay, maybe some girls, and maybe like you're saying, maybe she's quite feminine, but knows how to act in this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What then is that? Is she now being a male?
Right.
She's being a woman.
Yeah.
The logic is just expressed differently.
Toby.
I've had a lot to say. So let me preface this by saying I agree with what they are saying. But for the sake of conversation,
You beg to differ.
I think to differ heavily,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Because if we're going to use science as our base, then let's use science as our base. The female brain is fundamentally different from the male brain.
Agree.
No two ways about that.
Say again?
No two ways about that.
Yeah, no two ways about that, right? But hormones also present an entirely... sorry, I know how this is going to sound. So to my listeners, hear me out. I'm just trying to make a point. Do not cancel me. But so I've been reading this book called The Female Brain, right?
Okay.
Literally, because I also wanted to understand it and see if there were any inherent differences. And the author of this book has spent close to 10 years doing the research and everything about it. One of the things that was highlighted here, I know I'm taking it out of context, but hear me out. Developmental psychologists believe that the female brain's extreme ability to connect through reading faces, interpreting tones of voice, and registering the nuances of emotions are traits that were selected evolutionarily from the time of the Stone Age. These traits made it possible for the female brain to pick up cues from nonverbal infants and anticipate their needs. Now, this is to say that out the gate, girls are inherently different from boys, not in any negative sense, just different because of, biology.
Yeah.
In that they're able to pick up on emotional cues far more than their male counterparts at that age.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you can now switch it up and say, okay, well, if you raise a girl as a boy and things like that, like you say to a friend, I won't give her a doll, I'll give her a toy truck, right? You will come back to her 10 hours later and see that she's treating the toy truck like a baby in her bed. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You give the boy a doll, no problem. This guy is mashing it together. And there's so many things because like even young girls are able to pick up on their mothers, feelings and emotions, their father's feelings and emotions, and now it registers and lets them separate apart because maybe if the parents are stressed out, right, they pick up on that, they empathize with that, and then it now fuels their form of logic.
Yeah.
So to say, I feel like we put too much of an umbrella when it comes to this emotions and logic and so on. Because in truth, what women are doing is that they're using their tools to take decisions. Their tools is the emotional perception. Do you see what I'm saying? And so now, unfortunately, we live in a patriarchy. So the men have defined that the lack of tools that they had is what defines what logic is.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Good.
you can come out the gate and say, no, I would say that the statement is true. Females are, by definition, right, more emotionally intelligent and or perceptive than men, right? But then because men created society in the way that we have it now, because men began STEM, they're now like, okay, we don't use these tools to take decisions. We use calculations, because numbers. Okay, then we are the logical ones. Do you see what I'm saying? Men do feel emotions. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But then they will not take those emotions into account when taking decisions because they're results oriented.
Yeah.
So they will now say that to get from point A to B, I don't care if X, B, and Y dies along the way because logically it makes sense. The female in that same position understands the logical route, but will now connect and say that, oh, but this, and this, can we now find another way?
They want to go through
They want to go through so many
all of
other
the processes.
Before.
do you see what I'm saying? And that's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. Why get so triggered?
And the other.
Very, very true. Yeah.
It's two different
Yeah, I think we shouldn't draw a line in between.
Why though? The line can be drawn, but what meaning we apply to the line? Because we cannot come and say that we are the same. It can but the meaning we attach, because I would tell somebody, look, listen, my father once told me, Toby, you're too emotional. And I got triggered. I'm just like, what do you mean?
Triggered.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Triggered.
Yeah.
It's totally fine for him to say that.
Yes, that's the thing. Very
It's the meaning that I attach to this.
So wait, okay.
Do you see? And that's the point. We will say that women are more emotional and they'll feel like it's an inherent disadvantage. It is not. It is not. Being logical, we see it as an advantage because of how society has been created to this point.
Yeah.
So we will say that, okay, because hear me out, right? By virtue, and I don't know for certain, okay, but then because of the hormonal situations or let's say periods and things like that, there are mood swings that happen for a lot of women. Not all women, but a lot of women.
Yeah.
And therefore, here it comes. Here's the kicker. If your mood is influencing you and you are not influencing your mood, and that leads you to take an inappropriate decision, right? Then what do we define emotional maturity? The ability to control those.
Exactly.
You are now considered emotionally immature.
Yeah.
Now, if the men who have created society now say once a month, X amount of women are going to take decisions that are unpredictable, right? Then it's not like, okay, then they should take these decisions and then they shouldn't take these decisions. And that's probably what started all of this.
Exactly.
Just because of a truly inherently different approach, but not a negative approach. So, but that's...
They felt like the swings of it could be unreliable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the reliable things to remove emotions is
Yeah.
the fully logical route causes so much pain. Because how then are you able to connect with people without emotions? You cannot take a purely... So I don't know which point I'm standing for.
Right. Listen,
But
we're not,
we're
not turning this into the battle of sexes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. There's a point, and all of you have brought your thoughts to this, and I really appreciate it, right? So if you are listening to us, this is still the Dive Podcast. We are talking about the link between your soul, mind, and emotional maturity. If you have not subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button now, because you are not going to miss out on any of the episode that's going to drop. Now back to our conversations, right? We are going to play a game, a very quick one.
Mr. Grants, talk to us.
A very quick game just to calm our nerves down. So yeah. Toby was too high. Let's calm down a bit.
Yeah.
So it's very simple. I read a statement. You tell me if it's true or it's a myth. Is that fine? We are starting with Mommy.
Oh.
Yeah. Mommy, are you ready? Oh, the first question says, men are naturally better at controlling emotions. Is it truth or myth?
I would say it's a myth.
It's a myth.
Yeah.
This we are not unpacking, so we'll leave it there. So, Toby, I'm coming to you.
Talk to me, man.
People always get more mature with age. Is it truth or myth?
Myth.
Myth.
Big.
All right.
Big myth.
Ravi, I'm coming to you. Trauma only affects your emotions, not your mind.
Ooh.
Is it truth or myth? Trauma affects only your emotions, not your mind.
Myth.
It's a myth. So the last one is, that's all of you, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Crying means weakness.
Myth.
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 Oh, no period. We are done with that.
Yes.
So now let's bring this closer home, right? Beyond what culture says, there are personal struggles, right? Of our faith, of our wounds, and our growth process. How would you define spiritual maturity, and does it connect to emotional maturity? Spiritual maturity, and is there any connection with emotional maturity? Who is going?
Can I start this?
Yeah.
Let's start. Let's
Yeah.
dive.
Pero,
Short, simple, sweet. Yes, heavy
Okay.
connection. Right. But it's is linked. Okay, but it is also separate.
Okay.
Right. Spiritual maturity, at the very least, by the definition that I'm running on, is the ability to obey. To obey what the Spirit is telling you to do, right? If we look at the Bible, if you look at everything that Jesus and the Holy Spirit have outlined for us as Christians or believers, you know, a lot of it points towards the best response in
Okay.
that moment,
Okay.
right? You take 1 Corinthians 13, love is patient, love is kind, love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, it does not envy, it does not, you know, there's a whole list there that if we sit down and we say, actually, if I'm able to live like this, bro, I wouldn't have that many problems
Yeah.
with other people, right?
Yeah.
So the spiritual maturity is your ability to obey.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, what often happens, right? And I'm aware of this because we have some spiritual people who are a little bit manipulative, right?
Let's do that.
You know, it then kind of points to the fact that it's not always one and the same, because the spiritual maturity could be in so many other things.
Yeah.
The ability to obey the sacrifices that God asks for you,
Right.
and to go and take the hard decisions, you know, for your faith and so on. And people will build up a certain rugged, mysterious, but highly admirable approach towards spirituality, which is valuable, but they will leave out the emotional maturity aspect of things.
Yeah.
And therefore, they will use their spiritual maturity
Maturity.
to justify their lack of emotional maturity. And then that's where you have the imbalance, right?
Okay.
So it's linked, right? But
Linked.
it's a clear separation. You need to choose both.
Yeah.
Ravi, what do you think?
When Toby was speaking, I was itching to. Yeah. Yeah. I love that submission.
Mm-hmm.
There's this thing that a person can believe he can get away with anything when he believes he's on a mission from God.
Yeah.
Yes, because if it's God who asked him to do it, anything, no one can stop me. That's very true. And as now, the scriptures can be used as a means of manipulation.
Very true.
You're going to just be able to scripture, hey, touch was my anointed. Well, what that's anointed is messing up
Mm.
and is affecting people in so many negative ways.
Yeah.
Because you can be highly spiritual,
But
also
Mm-hmm.
very poor in character.
Mm.
yes.
Because what people now would try to focus that someone is mature is in their gifting and not in the fruits. But that's the side. And now it gives this image of confidence, image of perfection, image of, maturity.
Yeah.
But, the giftings of the spirits do not define the personality of the spirits.
Mm.
It's an ability. There's ability and there's identity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, okay, you can prophesy. Okay, but can you love your neighbor?
Ooh, that's too good.
Oh, you can heal the sick. Okay, Can you take care of someone when they're in need?
Mm.
So, like, who cares that you can do all of those things? Because someone may not be manifesting a certain explosive kind of gifting, but in the community, you're going to see a mother who is interceding heavily, and her prayers and her care for the people could have changed so many lives.
Yeah.
I see the fruits of the Spirit, they manifest quietly.
Yeah.
Because someone can go and do and then it's like obvious on stage.
Very true.
But there's someone who is cleaning the church every day for 25 years. And that service, what happens then? Would you say that she's not spiritually mature? Because you don't see her on, or you don't see him on stage. The person's been cleaning the toilets diligently, never missing out. And it's from their heart. No one is paying him, no one is paying her. That's her reasonable act of service. So we say she's not mature. Okay, now how does this all come back into emotional maturity and all of the things? It is easy to swap out spiritual maturity, swap out emotional maturity for spiritual maturity.
Yeah.
Because, well, if I can preach to people and they can understand, if I can expound on the scriptures and then people can relate to them and they are quickened and all of the things, then I don't care how whatever means I use to get the results, so long as the person grows, then that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So now what then happens where maybe you as a person, your upbringing, your whatever it is that was going on in your life, you now end up having this kind of controlling attitude, controlling behavior. Yes, you are spiritual. Yes, you are pastor. Yes, you are reverend. Yes, you are whoever you are. And there's no disrespect on your station or in your achievements and your sacrifices for the Lord. And we applaud all of it. But in the midst of all of these things, you are the most reverend. But are you a good father? Oops. All right. Are you a real mother? And like, it's not to call out or to air out, someone's dirty laundry. It's definitely not that.
Yeah.
But then you can't expect to just be doing the explosive things that look all marvelous.
Okay.
And then try to substitute the things of care, connection, communication, understanding, patience.
Yeah.
All of the things about love and everything. So yeah, you may have a certain image of love, but be riddled heavily with lust. When it happens with your self-control.
I'm coming there. Yeah. Mame, so to you, can somebody be spiritually strong, say very prayerful, but still emotionally immature?
Yeah.
Can you explain that? Let's dive into that.
I mean, when it comes to spiritual maturity, as they have rightly said, I would see it to be something that you are in connection with a higher person. And as you said, because the Bible says, touch no man,
Anointed.
I think you can get away with everything. I am hurting Toby, but the Bible says, sorry, let me take one time. I am hurting Toby, but because I am so connected with the faith with God, right? I think I am not hurting him. In the sense that sometimes you are doing something, because you always pray, because you always find yourself in church, because you are always doing something in the house of God. You think in every aspect of your life, everything is sorted. You are coming clean. But for all you know, this is one thing that a lot of us go through. Sometimes you close from church, then you're driving, you're going home. Then this church driver just crosses you.
What's all hell break loose?
So with that, it's not that you are so connected to God, but in the moment, Charlie, the thing that happened is causing you to react in a way that you are not supposed to. So, I mean, with that, I would say that you can be spiritually matured, but emotionally
immature. Great. Thank you guys for your great submission. I'm really enjoying this.